If this catches on, AI bots are about to get a whole lot dumber. A bot scraper tricking web font is able to effectively play Mad Libs with anything that's written on the internet by swapping out human words with alternatives that only AI can see. It's called Shield Font, and it uses things like ligatures to effectively opt yourself out from unauthorized AI training and actively frick with what might be collecting from you anyways. Ligatures are basically just glyphs that mean multiple words, but we still are programmed into fonts. Think ampersands, Elon Musk's one kid's name. But Shield Font leverages these so that certain words represent completely different and unrelated concepts when viewed on the raw HTML level on websites, which is exactly what's being scraped by AI bots, leaving the info gathered completely meaningless and potentially even causing nonsensical AI hallucinations.
Here's some fun facts about Monkey D. Luffy. For starters, his autograph is just the word "me" in Japanese, and we all know that his favorite food is meat, but did you know that his cooking specialty is raw meat on a plate? Fittingly, he also smells like meat, which also makes sense considering he only bathes once a week, fitting for a guy that only sleeps 5 hours a night. And lastly, Luffy's voice actor, Mayumi Tanaka, is actually quite prolific in the anime industry, notably being the voice of Krillin from the Dragon Ball series.
We at Xbox are happy to announce that Bethesda is collaborating with Obsidian Entertainment for a brand new Fallout game. What? Holy W! The last Fallout game that Obsidian made was Fallout New Vegas, and then that's considered the best Fallout game of all time. Speaking of Fallout New Vegas, we can also confirm that Fallout 3 and New Vegas remasters are in development and on the way for release, with Fallout 5 currently in pre-production. Oh my gosh, what did Ausha Sarma do to Todd Howard? Is he safe? This is the most news we've gotten from Bethesda in years. We're also happy to announce that The Elder Scrolls 6 is currently the #1 priority for Bethesda Game Studios, and that the studio is currently playtesting the game with a full review and game release date coming soon. Finally, it's been 15 years since Skyrim and 8 years since the teaser for The Elder Scrolls 6 dropped. Hopefully, with you guys playtesting, we'll see The Elder Scrolls 6 release in fall of 2027.
You should know that it's not always your image in the mirror. The reflection is not always derived from your image. Sometimes you may see another world, an anti-world, where someone will immediately say hi to you. It's very intimidating.
great redemptions in video games. Starting off, we have Bubsy 40. Bubsy was once a laughing stock, featuring games that were often seen as either downright terrible or mediocre. However, the newest entry into the Bubsy franchise, titled Bubsy 40, saw the Bobcat return in the best way he probably could have. While critic scores are more on the mixed side, fans everywhere mostly agree that this is a decent game and a true redemption for Bubsy the Bobcat. Next up is No Man's Sky. What was once heavily criticized for having game-breaking bugs and a complete lack of content such as multiplayer has now seen arguably the greatest redemption arc in all of gaming, as this game has since added multiplayer, base building, and many other unique features. And this is now a title that is played and loved by many. Last week, we have Cyberpunk 2077. At one point, this game was seen as a massive letdown, with nearly a decade of hype surrounding it. It did not meet fans' expectations when it was released back in 2020. This was due to game-breaking glitches, texture issues, and a lacking world. Since then, however, CD Projekt Red has drastically improved this game by adding additional content to the game, fixing the bugs and texture issues, improving AI, revamping the system, and of course, adding a whole new DLC expansion. Just like No Man's Sky, this is arguably the greatest redemption in all of video game history.
like we are going to be seeing fishing return from Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, the last main unconfirmed location is St. Joseph. Apparently, it's located northwest of Seaview, making it one of the northernmost locations in the Vice City region. It's rumored to be a small town with historic roots, hinting at classic American architecture and a peaceful setting. There is unfortunately nothing more on St. Joseph, and these other unconfirmed locations, we just don't know really more than what we have seen within the 22 leaked files, which have mentioned these are various locations. But that does bring us to the end. Those are the 5 map secrets Rockstar is hiding from us. But now I'm going to pass it over to you guys down in that comment section below. What do you make of everything we discussed within today's video? I'd love to hear from you guys. But if you want to enjoy this video and found any informative value, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. That is the next goal. Any support is, of course, greatly appreciated. But on that, guys, stay safe. Have a great day. And on.
They have now learned that they can behave like a nuclear power without ever needing to be one. But
oh, she really was right at the end there. All right, everybody, I don't know if I have ever seen a presidential administration this out of touch with the average American experience, but somehow the Trump administration has managed to fail on all fronts. We just learned that Donald Trump's schedule for the next 3 days has been closed to all of the press. He has canceled and wiped some events off of his schedule, and this comes at a time when the Iran war is rapidly escalating once again. We cannot find an off-ramp at all. This comes at a time when ICE is currently under the microscope after murdering a 52-year-old father and then admitting they got the wrong person. And number 3, this comes at a time when the Republican Party is desperately trying to cover up the state of Mitch McConnell, which is reportedly brain dead. We don't know, maybe Mitch McConnell pops up in the news over the next week and is totally fine, but he hasn't been seen by anybody but his close family in about a month, and even his wife is currently overseas. So we're going to run through all of this. Uniquely the Iran war, which is spiraling, escalating, in which Trump cannot get under control. Let's start off here. Donald Trump's schedule for the next 3 days is all closed press, and this is because this administration is not transparent. They are incredibly out of touch. Watch this video of JD Vance that is going viral where he describes his current lifestyle. And I want you to think while he's describing this, is this someone who is equipped to empathize with the average American who is struggling with rent, struggling with medical bills? A lot of people in my generation are struggling to find a job flat out, and that's across all generations. Take a listen to this.
Like, my life is, dude, totally transformed. I don't go to the grocery store anymore. People go to the grocery store for me. Most of my meals, like, when I cook a meal, it's like, I love to cook, actually. Big baker. I like to cook for my kids as a special occasion, but I don't have to cook anymore because I've got an army of people who are willing to, like, cook me my food. My life is so weird. I fly around on 757, no more TSA lines for me and the kids. It's so weird, but it can become the sort of thing that if you internalize it, you start to be an entitled asshole.
No, JD Vance and Donald Trump entitled assholes? I don't know if I see it. On a more serious note, this is the exact mindset that describes Donald Trump's total apathy towards the American experience right now. A serious question for you all. And by the way, before I ask this question, make sure you drop a like on the video below. Make sure you subscribe. We are currently scaling Mako Media behind the scenes, adding more to our staff, more to the research team. Slowly but steadily, we are trying to build an apparatus to fight back, and we need all the help we can get. So thank you all for the subscribers, the likes that you drop. But here's a quick question. Do you think Donald Trump has ever had to shop at the grocery store? I'd say no. Do you think Donald Trump has ever had to worry about some sort of medical bill and he was late on payment for it? No. He's screwed over contractors and missed payments on people that are below him. He likes to punch down. But when it comes to the actual experience of Donald Trump, he's never had to struggle with rent. He's never had to struggle with healthcare affordability. He has never had to go to the grocery store and try to budget in his head the amount of food he's able to allocate throughout the next week or 10 days for his family. He has lived a uniquely privileged life, and it's not inherently a bad thing. If he just wanted to go F off and do his own thing, then that's fine. But if you've lived this type of uniquely privileged life, you definitely do not experience or empathize with the average American who is struggling right now. This administration is so incredibly out of touch that ICE has turned into a death squad marching through the streets killing people. They had to eject Department of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. And now, Kristi Noem is reportedly getting divorced from her husband, Brian. Brian Noem is getting divorced with Kristi Noem. Former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is divorcing her cross-dressing husband, Brian, the ex-South Dakota governor's mother claimed in a new interview. This could be because Brian cross-dresses, but I'd probably say it's more likely that Kristi Noem and Corey Lewandowski spending so much time together really put a strain on their relationship. Either way, this administration is not working for the American people. If they were, Trump would let his events be open to the press and he wouldn't be canceling the events day after day after day. And the only person with a schedule this private is like Mitch McConnell right now. We haven't seen him in basically a month. We also have new reporting that reveals Donald Trump's $400 million Qatari Air Force jet does not even have the adequate defensive capabilities. I made a video about this yesterday, but Donald Trump had to hop off of the Qatari jet, deplane, and then go on his old Air Force One after spending hundreds of millions of dollars renovating the Qatari jet because there aren't security defense capabilities on this Qatari jet. Who would have known a jet that is gifted to us from a foreign country in a corrupt manner isn't actually adequately capable of taking care of a huge threat? And this huge threat is currently derived from the spiraling Iran war that is still ongoing. So Trump has to forfeit the new jet. He has to cancel his events. He has to clear his schedule because this Iran war is spiraling so much. Let's look at some of the events that were on his schedule. Check this out. If you look at the media that would be allowed, the media in town, even though it's closed press, you see the Daily Wire on here. You see the Daily Caller. There's even one on the right where you see Timcast. That's Tim Pool. So Tim Pool is in town, and they're a part of the press pool, but the press isn't allowed into any events. Closed press. Closed press. Closed press. Closed press. He has shut down all of his events to the public as the Iran war continues to spiral. Donald Trump tweeted out 30 minutes ago, "The Islamic Republic of Iran has asked us to continue talks. We have agreed to do so, but the United States has stated to them in no uncertain terms that the ceasefire is over. Thank you for your attention to this matter." It's worth pointing out that Donald Trump has been saying that they're begging for a deal for months now. Donald Trump has been saying we're on the verge of a deal for months now. And the ceasefire was broken by the United States before it was broken by Iran. The simple fact is, the Memorandum of Understanding had in it that Israel has to withdraw troops from southern Lebanon and stop striking Beirut. Israel did not do that. And in my opinion, the Iranians actually intentionally put this in the memorandum because they knew the Israelis weren't going to follow suit. They knew that Benjamin Netanyahu was a war criminal, and they used that to their advantage to continue to extract maximum concessions from the United States. And here's Donald Trump lying throughout the past few months about this very war.
They want to make a deal.
And they want to make a deal so badly.
They want to make a deal so badly. I do see a deal. It's looking very good that we're going to make a deal. This process should go very quickly. We're going to end that war very quickly. We're in the final throes of what will be a very, very good deal.
And they want to make the deal a lot more than I do. We have our deal done with Iran, and it should be successful.
We're making an amazing deal with Iran.
They want to make a deal with us very badly.
They're dying to make a deal.
They're giving us a lot.
They want to make a deal so bad.
Dude, this is like so much projection that it's almost just a spotlight beaming into the sky. He is projecting so hard because he is the one who is desperate for a deal. He's so desperate that Iranians can smell blood in the water. Trump is realizing that the carrot doesn't work, but neither does the stick. He's not able to negotiate, he's not able to strike them and get any concessions, so he is just stuck. The Iranians have effectively neutered Donald Trump's ability to either negotiate or strike because they can reclose the Strait of Hormuz at any moment, as they did this week, as they have continued to do. Let me show you this clip of Scott Jennings getting absolutely cooked by another Republican on Newsnight with Abby Phillip. This is Caroline Sunshine. She is not a Democrat. She is a Republican that is against the Iran war and cooks Mr. Scott Jennings, friend of the show. He's not a friend of the show, but Mr. Scott Jennings gets absolutely cooked here because he has no answer.
Doesn't want to do something against the market. Guardrails for what? To go back to a world where we're all rainbows and unicorns with the Iranians? They've been over us for 47 years.
Rainbows and 47 years.
Nobody has been rainbows and unicorns. Why did I learn about the 40? I'm sorry. The first time I've ever heard about the 47-year Iran war was like this year. Like we don't teach about the 47-year war with Iran in school. Like this is insulting to actual conflicts that have been involved in.
You have no idea what the Iranians have done for 47
How many Americans have they killed on this side? 47 years in the war.
They have killed thousands of Americans. They have maimed American soldiers. They have attacked American allies, and they have been at war with the West ever since this regime came to power. And it is their intention to build a nuclear weapon, use it on us, and use it on Israel, and use it on the West. That is their intention, and they stay.
No, they intend to just keep using the Strait of Hormuz. They have now learned that they can behave like a nuclear power without ever needing to be one. But
oh, she really was right at the end there. Iran now has more regional control than they had before this war because they're able to continue to control the Strait of Hormuz, and it's despicable. Scott Jennings growing a beard, number one, doesn't make him look more masculine. Number two, doesn't cover up the fact that he has been lying on this very show for months and months and months about this war. Like, I'm not even kidding. He sits there and tries to act like this war is going their way when we are on week 20 of the 4 to 6 week war. We might even be near week 25. This war is continuing to spiral out of control. And Caroline Sunshine makes a really, really good point there. It's also worth pointing out that this goes perfectly in line with what I said when I was with Scott Jennings on air that made him blow up on me, if you guys remember this. I said, we're sitting next to the same people who defended prior wars. Scott Jennings, when he was working under the Bush administration, would defend any war with a country that began with the letters IRA. It used to be Iraq, now it's Iran. He wants wars to continue in the Middle East because he's incentivized to. That's the type of neocon that he is. I'm glad Caroline Sunshine called him out on that, but he has got to stop lying about this when the United States is currently depleting our missile stockpiles. According to the CSIS, the Center for Strategic and International Studies, we have depleted 1/3 to 1/2 of our missile interceptors and our stockpiles. Our country is in danger. According to Eric Natal, the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve is now about 19 million barrels away from an estimated minimum operating level. There very soon will no longer be a safety buffer to protect the world from further losses out of the Straits. My foreign policy advisor also pointed out that at the bottom of the oil reserves, there's a lot of unusable sludge. Like over time in the oil reserves, it begins to separate out almost like salad dressing where there'll be different thicknesses. Does that make sense? And some of the oil goes to the bottom, turns into sludge that is not burnable and not usable. So there are reports that we are running even lower on our strategic petroleum reserves, and we are very close to running out entirely. This is catastrophic. And what is Donald Trump doing? Holding multiple closed-door meetings, canceling events, swapping planes while making fun of Americans' need for housing. It's all despicable. And I'm going to leave it there. One more time, the Mockery Media feed is going to continue to push for a better country, continue to push for a better vision, and we need all the help we can get. So if you made it this far, drop a like, make sure you subscribe, stay tuned for all the videos. I love you all, and peace out.
Pay close attention to those ICE agents surrounding the white car in the background. Because back in early July, when ICE descended on farmland in Ventura County, California, a U.S. citizen and Army veteran, George Reeds, got caught up in the crossfire and felt the full force of Donald Trump's anti-immigrant bigotry. This other piece of footage shows a more complete picture of what unfolded while Reeds tried to leave the scene.
He exited his car and tried to tell the officers he was going to work legally as a citizen. Agents then surrounded his car, banging on his windows. George, he tried to back away from the agents, but was pepper sprayed. his car engulfed. He says when Ben was pinned down by 2 officers and then arrested, George was held for 3 days at the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles. No charges were filed. He had no access to an attorney, and he missed his 3-year-old daughter's birthday.
Redis says he clearly identified himself as a citizen, but federal agents ignored him. They smashed the window of his car and dragged him out at gunpoint. The U.S. veteran then spent 3 days in detention without ever being charged with a crime. He was denied a phone call, legal representation, and medical care, despite being pepper sprayed and tear gassed during the raid. His family had no idea where he was or how to contact him.
Reed's case and all of the other similar cases we've seen are exactly why we've been so outspoken in sounding the alarm about the dangers these operations expose our fellow Americans to. Any assault and infringement on the civil rights of the marginalized is an attack on everyone else's civil rights. And you just need to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, citizen or not, to be subjected to that brutality yourself.
They eventually break my driver's side window. Immediately after breaking my window, another agent sticks his arm through and sprays me with OC in the face. And they continue to drag me out of the car, throw me to the ground. Takes multiple officers to detain me for some reason, even though I have OC in my face and I can't breathe. My hands are already behind my back. I have an agent kneeling on my back and another agent kneeling on my neck, all while I'm telling them I can't breathe because of the OC in my face and the tear gas in my lungs. They didn't care to listen, and they still abused their power.
You presented identifications showing that you were a U.S. citizen. They didn't bat an eye at that?
They didn't even allow me to show identification. They asked for my social security number. They asked, that's the only thing they asked for is like my social on a piece of paper and what I filled out.
So you were trying to identify yourself multiple times here, your name, where you were born, your social security number, to no avail?
No one cared that I was a citizen. They booked us and everything. They threw us into a cell. They didn't care to check on any medical, like issues wrong with us. They didn't care about what happened to us or anything, or why we're even there. They just put us in a cell without anything, phone call, attorney, speaking to anyone. They just threw us in a cell.
There's all these parts of process that happen if you get arrested for something that are required by the Constitution and by subsequent judicial opinions. You just sat in a cell for 3 days?
Yes, I sat in a cell for 3 days.
Did you call somebody? Did you talk to anyone?
No, they didn't let me call anyone. They didn't let me talk to a lawyer. They didn't even let me shower. When I was covered in tear gas and CO spray and my body was burning, knowing that I would miss my daughter's birthday, that was the biggest one for me. It's hard, if I'm being honest. Just knowing that I will never get that chance to know that I wasn't there. Wasn't even able to get her gift. So it's a terrible feeling. I missed a lot. I missed a lot when they locked me up, and there was just a lot to deal with and a lot that happened. I just can't wrap my head around it, if I'm being honest with you.
What I find so disturbing about how law enforcement treated George Reeds is, well, the blatant disregard for his humanity and his rights. Here's a U.S. citizen, an Iraq War veteran, on his way to his job as a security guard who encountered an ICE roadblock. Instead of being treated like a fellow American, he was treated like a criminal. An officer broke his car window, pepper sprayed him, and then dragged him out of his car, forcing him to the ground, putting a knee on his neck and back, even though he was not resisting. This is a man who was covered in tear gas, pepper spray, yet he wasn't allowed to shower in the 3 days he was held. They detained him without checking his ID, held him in an isolation cell. No communication, no hearing before a judge. No access to an attorney, no phone calls, no family. Held for 3 days, 3 nights, never charged with a crime, released without a single apology. He even missed his daughter's 3rd birthday. His pleas for an explanation were met with silence. Now, it's been a month since he was first detained, held in custody for all that time. He's going on the offensive. Reitz is fighting the Trump administration the best way he can right now.
What he's done now is file administrative claims against the federal agencies that are involved. And the reason for that is that there's a statute called the Federal Tort Claims Act. And it is one of the most viable ways to hold the federal government accountable for violating people's constitutional rights. When he was released, he was given a form that just says he was detained pursuant to arrest. That's no explanation for his 3-day, 3-night detention, much less without a phone call, without a hearing before a judge, without access to an attorney, without a shower, with pepper spray all over his body. These are basic violations of Georgia's federal constitutional rights and his rights under California law.
It's important to hold everyone accountable, to make sure that no one is above the law. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do. Everyone has to follow the law. Everyone needs to be held accountable, and I think that's super important, especially for people who don't get the chance to speak or are too scared to speak. Someone has to hold people accountable.
This case directly undermines the administration's played-out defense that they're only going after criminals. George Reitz is a U.S. citizen, Army veteran with no criminal record. He's exactly the kind of person the government is supposed to protect, not illegally detained. This case proves that when law enforcement is weaponized for political purposes, no one's safe. Trump administration has blurred the lines between law enforcement, military, a political militia, and the future may hold for all of us if Donald Trump and the Republicans continue to weaponize law enforcement and the military against civilians under the guise of promoting safety, reducing crime. Complete breakdown of our civil liberties. That's what it is. We need an independent legal system, and we need to be free of these attacks, this dangerous path. George Reitz said he's fighting for others, not just himself. He's doing his part to repair the relationship between us and our government, just as he did his part when he served in Iraq.
On Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. For some of those episodes, apparently.
Ghostbusters. It was one of the most successful comedies of the 80s and one of the most popular franchises I remember as a kid. There's a sequel, a cartoon series that ran for 7 seasons. 7 merchandise and a line of action figures. We got the Firehouse, which was awesome. We got the action figures. We got the Firehouse, which was awesome. We got the Ecto 1. We got Slimer, Marshmallow Man.
I've seen some of the cartoon. I've seen the old movies.
We had all the Ghostbusters, then they came out with versions that made facial expressions, then there's this card.
I think my favorite is probably, like, what really got into my brain was seeing the Ghostbuster movie where the Statue of Liberty came alive, and I was just like, that is the most amazing thing ever.
Some praying mantis or something. Then you had all these weird ones I don't remember from the show.
That's awesome.
No, that's not mine. Get that the fuck out of here.
I never told the block you the plate. Maybe those plastic. You know what I mean? It's an unlicensed nuclear soda.
Yeah.
Then you got the Ghost Trap, which doesn't work anymore.
First Ghostbusters movie is one of those movies where I can't think of a flaw. Literally, yes.
It's a piece of shit. Then you got the PKE, which always leads way through and always shows a ghost.
So, I just wanted to take you back to the 80s. The Ghostbusters and the Entertainment were the best things in the world. Now, the entertainment system, I believe, needs no introduction. So, when we heard that the Ghostbusters game for Nintendo was coming out, we were so excited, we shit our pants. Literally, shit came out our asses and rocketed through the roof. It was two of our favorite things coming together. Should have been like bread and butter. More like dead skunk and dog shit.
You pop this piece of
my favorite.
expecting Ghostbusters, and what do you get?
Well, Ghostbusters got the logo there. Look.
I'm kind of afraid. Have you guys ever heard about the Silver Surfer game?
Huh?
And it's like, oh, it's it's superheroes, it's Silver Surfer, this is so sick, man. And then it's like, it just probably made you have PTSD.
Looks promising enough. But are you willing to bet that it's going to get
It
really
was.
bad once you start
It was
playing?
stupid and really hard.
Yeah, well, guess what? It gets bad as soon as you press the start button.
Oh no.
The fuck was that? Ghostbusters! Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to criticize the game for its lack of voice clarity, but you hear how bad this sounds? Let this set the tone for the rest of the game. So here's the main screen. This is it. This is Ghostbusters on Nintendo. This is my wasted childhood you're looking at. I don't even need to comment. Just look at it. It's shits for the birds. Okay, we gotta come up with a game about Ghostbusters. What can we do? How about just have the Ghostbusters logo floating around playing tag with cute little yellow ghosts? So if you like Ghostbusters, it's right up your alley. More like up your ass. Now for music, you got the Ghostbusters theme song, which sounds like a decent 8-bit rendition, but there's one problem. It's the only song in the whole game, and it
End it now.
never, ever stops. It starts playing from the first screen all the way to the end of the game. It drones over you, makes your brain go numb, and then when it gets to the end of the song, it pauses for a second, then it loops again. So you better...
This is actually PTSD inducing. Maybe there's some kind of like psychological message in there, and that's why all the kids from this period are psychotic.
Get used to it, but let me tell you, that 1 second when the music stops, it feels so satisfying.
Ghostbusters Pac-Man looking game.
For just one brief moment to put your mind.
Let's say that about Pac-Man. Pac-Man was good.
So seriously, what am I doing? Why am I just a Ghostbusters logo floating around playing tag with ghosts? Well, from what I understand, the more ghosts that go into the zoo building in the center, the more the PKE energy goes up.
Arizona Zoo.
What happens when it goes up all the way? I don't know. It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man appears or some shit like that. But I'm not here to try and figure out how the game works. I'm here to retell my...
I have a TISM side fact for you. Okay, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is based off of the Michelin Man, which by turn, the reason that it looks that he's weird and white colored like that, originally the logo that they made was a bunch of stacked tires, but they thought that it looked like weird and intimidating, so they changed the color to just white randomly, and that's why he looks like marshmallows.
My experience as a gamer. Now, what am I trying to do?
I freaking love Stay Puft.
Securing when I press the B button. So here's what we're supposed to do. We need to find which buildings have ghosts in them.
Okay.
They vary at any point in the game. So you need to go around the city, and when you touch certain buildings, they blink red, and that means that there's a ghost in them. You try to enter, and oops, you can't do that yet. You need to buy your proton pack and ghost traps. The Ghostbusters don't have their own equipment, so they have to go
This is like prehistoric microtransaction.
buy it from a store. So this is it. This is the Ghostbusting store. When and where would there ever exist a store that sells equipment for catching ghosts? If the Ghostbusters aren't inventing their own gadgets, then who the hell is? Anyway, buy your shit, then get out.
You need the frick out of Stay Puft? Me too, brother.
Now we can see that weird white box shows you what equipment you have. You can hold 4 items at a time. Go find a blinking red building and then go in. Now you're in the Ecto-1, driving down the road. And while you still have to...
By the way, that is a gem. If any of you are ever able to actually get an old, vintage Ecto, I will sell my left nut.
Drive to the building is beyond me. On the map screen, it looks like you're right there. When you move all around, you don't have to drive. Only when you're already at the building do you need to drive there. Well, every other car in the city is out to hit you. They move back and forth, nobody stays in the lane, so it seems like the
In fairness, this is what traffic looks like where I live.
Drivers like us with ghosts. Hey, guess what? When the cars hit you, who has to pay for the damage? You do. That's...
Nobody's got insurance, dude.
That's right. Every car that hits you takes a few $100 away. It's bullshit. So get to the building, capture the ghosts, drop the trap, catch the ghost with your beam, bring him to the trap, open the trap, and time it so the ghosts get dragged in by that white thing that goes up your hand.
I can't believe it. They're just shooting white stuff at the ghost.
So keep going around, finding buildings to go in, avoid drunken drivers, and catch more ghosts. When you catch ghosts, you get money, and you're going to need it to buy other stupid shit later.
They do have the Iron Man color.
Catching these ghosts, your goal is to catch as many of them as you can. Most of the time, you'll probably be able to get all 4 of them, but sometimes the ghosts...
I hate you.
Most of the time, you'll probably be able to get all 4 of them, but sometimes
Bustin', bustin', bustin'.
reach without buying a longer beam. But good luck catching them games you can afford the longer beam. Sometimes they go too low. There either. Now, whatever you do, don't cross the streams. This is an important safety tip thanks to Egon from the movie. It will cause a total protonic reversal. Try to imagine all life as you know. Stop at every mile from you.
This is why when you guys play swords, if you piss, you don't cross streams.
That's it. Now, every time you catch a ghost, you can't reuse the same trap. So if you try to enter a building, you might get a message that says you need an empty
I hate when she complains that my beam isn't long enough. Well, it was kind of a skill issue.
ghost trap. So you need to go to the Ghostbuster headquarters to empty the traps. When you get there, you may be baffled to see that the size of the car is the same size as the building. So as you're constantly running around emptying traps, you'll keep running out of gas. That's right, you can run out of gas in here. How you get gas? You go to the gas station. What happens when you run out of gas? Two little fuckballs get out and push the car. Do you really have to go to the gas station at all? No, you can also slam in the gas tanks on the highway. So fuck the gas station. Wish it was that easy in real life. Need gas? You run over the gas company.
I mean, you could try this in real life, but results may vary.
So because needing to get gas, needing to empty your ghost traps, and needing to buy stupid shit are all such a big part of the game, it would be wise from the beginning to buy a super trap as one of your first items.
Right.
This trap you don't need to empty, so the regular trap is just a piece of crap. Another thing you might want to buy is the ghost vacuum. It's a vacuum that goes on the top of your car to suck ghosts in, which is a good idea to get a little extra money so you can hopefully make up for some of the damage that the drunk drivers caused.
A ghost vacuum. Does there exist any store that sells a ghost vacuum? Let's find out. Hi, do you sell vacuums?
Oh god, guys. Guys, use a flip phone!
I'm looking for a special kind of vacuum. It's like shaped like a funnel, sort of. It's like shaped like a funnel. Like you put it on the roof of your car.
He's looking for a suction device.
No, you put it on the top of your car, like while you're driving.
And then we go from suck to blow.
No, these vacuums are for catching ghosts.
Well, I mean, technically it is for cleaning.
Suck up ghosts on the roof of your car, you're gonna have to do it in this game. I really hate these driving stages. Naturally, you want to speed up to get them over with. But when you speed up, your car goes to the top of the screen and you can't see what's coming at you.
Millionaire, you're not allowed to do that. I think that's still prostitution. At the very least.
Ghosts are trying to catch gas barrels or drunk drivers. What? So you might be wondering, is this all you do in the game? Just go from building to building?
Yes. Yes.
Well, yes. This is all we do. I am dead fucking serious.
You know when there's those times you don't want to be right, but then you're right, and you're like, well, fuck me, I guess.
The main idea is to go into the zoo building, but you can't do that until the game says you can. How it decides that, I don't have a fucking clue. Maybe it has something to do with how many ghosts you catch and when the PKU energy gets to a certain
He hasn't talked about the stairs?
Letting the ghosts go in. So, I don't know. For whatever reason, you're not allowed to go into the zoo building right away. Maybe there's like an invisible barrier that takes like a fucking hour to go away. Also, why is it called the Zool building?
He's
If it's
gotta
meant
buzz
to be
you up.
named after the main villain in the movie, it should be Gozer. Gozer had two minions, the Keymaster, also known as Vince Clortho, and the Gatekeeper, also known as...
Okay, I want you to stop real quick and just look at this. First of all, if you guys have never seen any of the Ghostbuster movies, your life is not worth living until you correct that. So I need you to stop what you're doing, and if you're driving in traffic, stop. Just stop in the middle of the road. And I need you to find this movie, and I need to watch it now.
Zool. So, why is the building in the game named after Zool? Who knows? So anyway, it takes forever to be allowed entry into this building, so in the meantime, you just keep catching ghosts. After doing this for so long, you start to wonder, who pays you to catch the ghosts anyway?
Thank you for the 100
And why are
biddies.
the ghosts so generic, innocent, and cute looking? They don't do anything to you, so why are you busting them? Because busting makes you feel good?
Yes.
Well, don't the ghosts have a right to death? Obviously, I'm thinking too deep about it, but that's what happens. That's what happens when you play such a boring-ass shitty game. Your mind gets delirious. I mean, right now, I feel like I'm going fucking crazy. So finally, you get a message that says, Enter Zool Building. But it's at the very bottom of the screen, so you need to be paying attention.
Seriously, half the time I don't really notice it because I'm not looking down there. A little sound cue would have helped, you fuckers. Now you go into the building.
Listen, sound cues are for weak people. You're not weak, are you?
And it's a breath of fresh air to see something different. But unlike the rest of the ghosts in the game,
You're not gonna
these
bust
ones aren't.
Casper.